So identifying and moving through personal blocks is something that I come up against all the time in my personal life and also when I'm coaching, seeing when we get to that point of, okay, I can see a loop, I can recognize a story, or you find yourself back in a situation. It might be a different cast, it might be with a different person. However, the story is still there. Or you're feeling that, again, those feelings, I'm not good enough, I'm not old enough, I'm not pretty enough, I can't do this. You've lost your motivation on something that you were feeling really excited about. So identifying those is simply being aware. So noticing when those stories are there. And then moving through them is the next important step. And often we can get stuck at identifying. And this is when what I call being over trauma informed. So we get really good at going, well, I know this is me, this is what I do. I get to this point and I behave in this way, or why is this happening to me again? You may even just be stuck in that block. Why? What have I done? I seem to have done everything I can to, improve myself. And yet here I am, I'm back in this situation. Or you're totally aware, I know I've got a lack of confidence in that area. I know I could do with looking at that fear, that phobia, whatever it is. However, the story is the same and you find yourself repeating that story. Oh, it's my fear, it's my lack of confidence, whatever it is, but it's repetitive and it's something that you repeat to yourself and to other people. That's the identification, and on its own, it's just information. So it's, sometimes you can have that moment of complete rewire because you realize something. For sure, that can happen. Most times, and this has been certainly my experience and experience of hundreds of people that I've coached, is that to move through those blocks, it takes to really talk to the subconscious. And that's where I find somatic practices really incredible to use. And when you're working with the subconscious, it's when you get that split between the conscious mind and the subconscious. So you've got the identification, you don't need to be feeling jealous, afraid. You can see it very clearly, but your body's saying something completely different, or your life is bringing you a completely different experience. That's when it's time to get beneath the layers and really get to where you're holding that memory or that belief. And it will be in your subconscious because it's the subconscious that runs the show. So when something happens and that trigger comes, your subconscious is going to bring up something that you've already learned in order to keep you safe. Or when you're just running at this fast pace in life and your stress is up, your subconscious is really running the show that you can't stay conscious of. So the moment we align the conscious and the subconscious and we take the time to drop in, that's when we can really get in there and rewire, change those beliefs. That is also a time of identification. So very often we can see that and we can go deeper into the identification. You might remember something or have an understanding that's clearer to you. And just to caveat this, that this might be a point where you could do with extra help from a therapist. So if you feel you get to a point where you're feeling too overwhelmed and you need help and support, then please seek professional support. However, in my experience, 9 times out of 10, we can get to smaller things that are holding us back that become bigger blocks easily just by developing our own practice. And somatic practices, somatic simply means body felt experiences. So you're not just thinking something through, you're allowing yourself to drop into the experience. And actually, very often, just being with an experience is the only thing that's needed. So, for example, it takes 90 seconds for an emotion to pass through you. If it stays for longer, it means that you've attached a thought to it, you've attached a story. So, for example, you might wake up feeling really sad, and then the next thing you do is, oh, I feel sad. Oh, yeah, that's because yesterday this happened, or, I saw this, or, and somehow we want to try and understand the way we're feeling, which is perfectly natural. But a very simple somatic practice could be just, I feel sad. And just staying with that sadness. Oh, and that feels a bit heavy in my chest, or my belly feels empty, and just going into the feeling without why, without the story. And what you can often notice is that can even that alone can just let the emotion pass through you. What I would do then is build on, well, how do I want to feel in this moment? And then bring in a feeling and really attach a story to that, go with it, use your imagination, use your conscious mind. There are also ways where you just get to the stillness, you're just present. So practices like yoga, breathwork, meditation, energy medicine techniques where you might be stimulating certain energy points on the body, breathing, bringing yourself to that place where you're just present. They're wonderful ways just to take out the stories for a moment, practice finding that pause in the body because that's where your solution is. That's where we're able to see opportunities that you can't quite see when you're stuck in identification. I'm like this because if only they would do this, then I could be free. You don't need to know the answers. And often, when you reach that point of saying, okay, I'm stuck in this, the best thing to do next is just to relax, just to get into your body, get into your feelings, do something that feels good and that's in the moment, because you're not going to work it out through your thoughts. They're going to keep you there. You might have some insights, but you need to bring those deeply into your body so they get into your subconscious, so they last, so they stay with you, so that you're then carrying a new story. You find yourself telling a different story. So these practices enable you to get to that still point, and when you do them regularly, you get to know yourself beneath those levels. You're able to listen to whispers. You're really practicing that feeling of openness. How does it feel when stress is out of the equation and you feel more spacious, easier, happier in your body? Because then automatically you begin to draw different things to you that are more open and more spacious, see opportunities and feel safe enough to take them. Because the thing to understand as well, when we're stuck in really staying with our trauma response, everything in your body will say, don't go with this, stay with what you know. You know the story, it might not be happy, but we know it, let's stay with it. You're not doing that consciously. Your survival system is taking over. So give yourself a break. We all do it. Is part of us making sure that we wake up tomorrow. This practice is about make sure that when you wake up tomorrow, you're a little bit deeper in life. You can feel more, you feel happier, you're healthier, you're more expansive. And you do that slowly, slow steps. There are also other methods that really get into that wiring really quickly. One of my favorite techniques, and this is something I use a lot in my practice, we use a lot on our membership platform, a Handpicked Life, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment, but is actually emotional freedom technique where you tap on certain areas of your body that relate to different organs, that relate to different emotions. And as you're doing this, you can completely rewire something. And I've seen this happen in one session many, many times, something that you've been holding and struggling with for a long time. Or you can gain a deeper insight, which helps you to get deeper to the root of it. And the beauty of it is you're not putting a plaster on a broken leg. You're not thinking positive, trying to think your way out of anything. You're simply with the feeling, with whatever's going on, telling the truth. And I really do believe the truth sets you free. But as you're telling the truth, you're helping to change your physiology. And as you're doing that, there's a sense of lightness and you're giving your body a chance to rewire. These are all beautiful practices that are available. There are more. There are endless ways to find what really works for you. You find certain first aid practices that really work for you. So if you have enjoyed this, then please sign up for the free training below, which will really help you to begin to integrate our core principles of reflection, really getting to know yourself through practice and educating yourself about different ways that you can experiment with getting to know yourself, and aligned action, so action that's truly aligned with your core values. Please like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, make a comment below, let us know how you feel about this, and hopefully our paths will cross in the future. Thank you for joining me.